They will not score 10 points against Detroit. They will score more because they will be forced out of playing that style of football. Personality of the game is a big fucking deal, man. I know people saw 80% of the offensive line on it, but they're all limited. Lane coming off the ankle injury, limited early in the week is a good sign. He's going to be ready. Cam Jurgens is back at practice. That's a good sign. Again, estimated. And then Landon, this is his fourth injury, by the way. Now it's a quad, limited. Tyler Steen limited with an oblique. But that's a sign on Wednesday that unless something happens, at least with Landon, Lane, Tyler, you have to see with Cam Jurgens, he might need a ramp up period. But that's an indication that they're going to play on Sunday night. And then it's a bunch of full practice guys. The long snapper's got a little bit of a finger issue. Jacorian Bennett is still on there. Darius Cooper, Nolan Smith from their injuries from coming off injured reserve. So that's not Willie Lampkin, knee, ankle. Another guy, he's not even on the 53. He's in a 21-day practice window. So, again, did you see Detroit's injury report? This is the Eagles are 7-2, but they are now 10-0 when it comes to injury reports. The other team is far more banged up than they are. They had, I'm just pulling it up. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 players on the injury report. 7 of them did not practice on Wednesday. Terrion Arnold, Aiden Hutchinson. Now, Hutchinson, don't get too excited. He said he's playing already, but he didn't practice. So they're probably just, managing him to get him to the game. Kirby Joseph, who has been out and will continue to be out. Sam Laporta, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell did not practice. That's also probably a management situation. And then some lesser guys, backup tight end, Brock Wright.
Do you think Kirby Joseph's going to play? That's a big loss there.
He hasn't been playing. He's missed, and he's not back at practice. So I'm
assuming, yeah.
Yeah. And then they had a bunch of limited guys on top of that, most notably Taylor Decker, who's their left tackle, Graham Glasgow is one of their interior linemen, Jacob Set, DJ Reed, who has also not been playing, and he's, a starting corner. Now, Malcolm Rodriguez is supposed to be back this week. He's been out. He's supposed to be back. So they are much more banged up than the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, good stuff there for the injury report. So Eagles once again, pretty healthy here coming into the week. John, what's your feeling on this Lions game, man? It's a good team. Obviously, one of the teams that's kind of been, top of the NFC the last couple of years. You kind of heard Jalen speak about it. They've been almost waiting to play one another, given the circumstances of the last year and a half, as Jalen alluded to, which I was kind of surprised to hear. I don't think they played this team, John, since early 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So quite a bit ago. What's your early feeling on this Lions game, man? It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most anticipated game, I think, for a long time. Regular season game. We've all been waiting to see this matchup. I think the Lions want to test themselves against the Eagles. I think the Eagles, you saw the rare sort of nod to how gifted they are and how talented they are. I think this should be one of the funnest games of the regular season, just to see these two teams match up together. It's going to be interesting. And it comes in, I know Dan Campbell called Vic a legend yesterday. That was a nice little tip of the cap to Vic Fangio. To see Vic's defense against that offense, yeah, a lot of fun. This game is. I rarely get up for specific games because I think the hype is usually not warranted. I think the hype is warranted on this one.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
am
one.
very interested to see how both of these teams, because I don't think Detroit's as good as they were last season, how both of these teams handle each other.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, John, where do you think the Eagles have a clear advantage anywhere in this game, a matchup to exploit? Because somebody was running down the numbers for me, and it's like Detroit is kind of better than us in every category, but I still don't feel like they're that
Well,
much of a better
so
team.
was Green Bay, and they
Yeah,
didn't do
right.
a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Green Bay was banged up, but and so. But I just gave you the injury report for. Look, the Lions. For whatever reason, just like I say with the Eagles, for whatever reason, they've been able to stay relatively healthy. For the Lions, it's not the offense, it's the defense. For whatever reason, they keep having these defensive injuries every year. And if they ever got their players on the field, if Kirby Joseph was out there, that's a Pro Bowl safety. TJ Reed's a good corner. Arnold's been in and out, even though he's been a disappointment. Obviously, he's talented. Jack Campbell's phenomenal linebacker. He has developed into a phenomenal. Now you get Rodriguez back, Aiden Hutchinson on the front. Now they got Olin McNeil back a couple weeks ago. He had been injured. They're really talented on defense as well. You just never see it because they're never healthy together. And offensively, my God, I mean, on paper, like there's one way to stop the Lions. There's one way, and that's speed up Jared Goff. If he's on platform, you're screwed.
Yeah, right.
If he's comfortable, you're screwed. I
So
mean,
you need a big pass rush game, and those corners. I mean, if you're the Lions, you're coming in, get the ball out quick. Obviously, you don't want to let the pass rush impact the game.
but the good thing is the weakness of the Lions compared to last year, especially they lost Frank Ragnow to an early retirement. Their interior offensive line used to be the best offensive line in football was the Eagles. Number 2 was the Lions. They had a great offensive line when Ragnow was there. He's not there anymore, and they've struggled, understandably so, to replace him. And they moved a guard to center, and they're playing a rookie guard, and that's where Minnesota beat them 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. They did those cross dog blitzes right up the middle and forced Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, to stay inside the pass protect instead of leaking out. So I don't know if Vic's going to look at that and utilize.
I'm sure he will. It's Vic.
Well, I know he's going to look at it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to copy it because it's generally not what he likes to do.
Right.
But he should consider it because it worked. Because, boy, I'll tell you, man.
Is there a way to accomplish that same thing with while remaining within what Vic does?
I don't think there is because he's not going to stay in the pass protect a 4-man rush.
Right, exactly.
Even if Jalen Carter dominates inside against Tate Ratledge, who's a rookie.
Is there maybe a package that you could use where you could bring Campbell and Dean on the field, and you can rush Campbell or Dean, and just to try and get that extra guy to to your point, to try and get Jahmyr to stay in?
Well, you're going to have to blitz. You're going to have to be a heavy blitz team, and that's easy for Brian Flores. It ain't easy for Vic Fangio.
Vic is not going to do
that. Because you remember, they have you have to convince them they can't handle it without adding blockers. And you're not going to do that with a 4-man rush. You're going to have to be over aggressive. And the problem is like that's a player. When you talk about the toughest matchup in all of football, I think it's Jahmyr Gibbs. He can do everything
except pass block.
Catch,
run. He's amazing, dude.
Yeah. There's not a linebacker in football that can cover him. There's not There's not.
I mean, dude, even when he catches the ball just in the flat, I mean, he'll take that thing to the house. He runs around people, makes it look easy.
And he's a good receiver. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but he's not Saquon Barkley either. He's not going to fall. He's a good receiver. He can run inside. He can run outside. He's tougher than people think he is. He's explosive. To the point that they have David Montgomery as well, and the old Sonic and Knuckles, which, by the way, I love that nickname.
Yeah, you did. You loved that last year too.
Yeah. To the point that they complain when Montgomery's on the field because Gibbs isn't on the field.
Yeah, he's that good. Yeah. And where do you put him in the running back rankings in the league? He's got to be maybe.
Well, it depends. Like if you want, I always say the best, and that's how I describe Gibbs. He's the toughest matchup in the NFL. His ankle routes coming out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Good luck, man. When he gets the option routes, especially in the red zone. Boy, anyway, he's a tough player to deal with, and that's how I describe him. Now, if you want to say well-rounded, like I always used to say back in the day, who's the best running back in football? And I would always say it's Emmitt Smith because Emmitt could do everything. He's a great runner, obviously, all-time leading rusher, great receiver, great pass protector, which is what you rarely see. That's his weakness, pass protection. Saquon's weakness as well. But that's part of the game. If you want to encounter that, he's not the best running back, but he's the toughest matchup for anybody in the NFL, I think. And that's more important than pass protection.
Yeah, no, it is. It is, especially if Detroit can get another spot. John, the other thing that's interesting here is Jared Goff is great, in terms of, I think, beating zones. You know what I mean? He's a timing quarterback. He gets the ball. He's very accurate. And they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I happen to think Amon-Ra's a little overrated in the macro, but he is a perfect fit in that Detroit offense, the way he plays. He's a very good player. I don't mean to say that he's not a very good player, but that's going to be a tough match.
That's a bold statement. I don't think he's overrated, but yeah, he's a great receiver, and they fit together.
Yeah, they fit perfect. That was my point. I mean,
I think Williams. I think Williams is the overrated one.
Oh, Williams is definitely overrated.
Laporte is great. I mean, Laporte is phenomenal. Yeah, they're what people think the Eagles should be. That's how I describe the Detroit Lions.
I don't see it like that. Jared Goff is so different than Jalen Hurts.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, you got to have the vehicle to get these guys the football. That's part of it. It's a big part of it. But this is what people envision because they look at the playmakers and they say, well, they have two running backs who can kill you. They have a great tight end. They have two great receivers, and even some of the, big playmakers, Khalif Raymond and all those guys, as situational. This is what people think the Eagles should be, but there's no evidence that the Eagles could be that. And the difference is the quarterback, because the quarterback is a high volume quarterback. Not Jalen Hurts does a lot of things better than Jared Goff, but the one thing he doesn't do is he can't make every throw like Jared Goff can make every throw. It's just reality. AJ would be very happy in the Lions offense.
Yeah. Well, he definitely
That's how I describe
that was my point about Amon-Ra. I think Amon-Ra is a great player. I don't mean
I'm joking. I'm joking, by the way, because
he has better talent, Amon-Ra or AJ. He thinks more talented.
AJ.
That's what I meant about Amon-Ra being over. I didn't mean overrated.
But there's,
he's in a system that essentially talents perfectly.
You could ask me, like, who's the most talented player at each position. It's probably not the best player at each position. Yeah, I mean, Let's
right.
see. Last 3 seasons for Amon-Ra St. Brown, 106, 119, 115 receptions.
Oh my lord, that is crazy, man. That's so many questions. That is so many catches.
And that's part of he is a tough dude. He can handle that workload. Big time player is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And he'll gash his own D, man. He'll just drop it right in there. Jared Goff, very accurate quarterback. Got to speed him up, as John pointed out. All right, John. Now you flip to the other side. This offense that we just spent 40 minutes at the start of the show talking about. How will the risk-averse Eagles offense?
Yeah, I asked Jalen. He kind of
Lions defense. What will the approach be? 1, 2, 3, punt. 1, 2, 3, punt. One,
yeah,
two,
yeah.
three,
It
punt.
will not. It will not. This is where I feel like no one believes me when I say personality of the game matters. They will play a different style of football because they will have to play a different style of football. And that will take care of itself. They will score more points. They will not score 7. They scored 10. They will not score 10 points against Detroit. They will score more because they will be forced out of playing that style of football. Personality of the game is a big fucking deal, man. And I asked Jalen that question yesterday, and he kind of smiled a little bit because I'm, he's worried about Aiden Hutchinson and those guys. But I asked him, do you look at the other side and say, hey, I'm going to have to score some points again? We're going to have to score some points this week. And he kind of smiled and went, then he went to the normal Jalen answer, but he knows. He knows. And the personality of the game will take care of that. It really will, because you can't play the way you played in Green Bay.
Right.
And the one other thing about the Lions that is a pain in the ass, and the Eagles usually have a big advantage in, is aggressiveness. They ain't going to be more aggressive than the Lions. So third down becomes second down with the Detroit Lions because they're going for it on fourth down.
How much do you think the wrinkle of Dan Campbell taking over the play calling is?
Well, it worked for 1 week. I didn't think it was necessary.
Well, me neither. But like, doesn't it throw the wrinkle of like you only have a 1-game sample? Now it's still the same offense. It's not like he reinvented the wheel and brought in a new playbook. But I don't know. Maybe it's harder to pick up on the tendencies that they've had in the first 8 games. When you get a new play caller like that. At least that's how I would see it. Do you think that's overstating it?
Yeah, I mean, I because I don't think it matters that much. I think they overreacted. Like everybody's, every NFL city's the same. I think they overreacted to one bad game, which, by the way, they still scored 24 points in. And I don't think he liked the way that Johnny Morton, not the receiver, the offensive coordinator, handled the Gibbs stuff with Minnesota. And he said, we can't do that. We got to find a way. And he took it, and they had tremendous success in Washington. I think they had 546 yards and 44 points. Now that's an awful defense that's fallen apart, but yeah, I mean they're going to score some points. So to win the game, you have to score some points. But that is one of the things really since 2017, since Super Bowl 52, that the Eagles have generally had an advantage on 90+% of their games. They were way ahead of the curve when it came to aggressiveness and fourth downs and forcing you to play 4 downs. But the Lions are now number 1 in that category.
Yeah, the whole league is kind of a lot of the league.
Oh yeah, everybody does it now to a certain degree, but they do it relentlessly. So, when you see guys put up their hands and fourth down, you're usually excited. With this team, you better get back and line up because they're going for it. And to stop and you think about it, 10 yards, man. 4 downs instead of 3 downs. That's 2.5 yards. This is where analytics come into it. You're going to stop Gibbs or Montgomery, Laporta, St. Brown, Williams, et cetera, for 4 downs. They are relentless.
Defense got to have a big game, Joe. It's going to be a tough one.
Oh, yeah. And Vic, but
our defense is humming though right now, man. They have really found the rhythm. They're playing a lot better, and obviously the addition of Phillips last week made a big difference. I feel pretty confident about that defense. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to hold them to 7 points like they did the Packers, but I got a feeling they're going to be able to throw them off their game a little bit.
Well, I think they're going to play better than Washington, and I think this is a big interior game because Jalen Phillips isn't going to be the Jalen Phillips you saw against Penei Sewell, but
to no fault of his own, by the way. I mean, Michael Parsons is a great pass rusher. He can't have the type of day when he's going up against Lane Johnson. Same concept.
Yeah. So, but inside, Jalen Carter, Morrow, their interior offensive line is not nearly as good as it was.
You've been impressed with Morrow Jomo, John? I feel like he's really come alive, man. Conversation we had in the offseason about maybe can he replace Milton? I don't know. I think he's gotten closer than – I know I was on the Morrow bandwagon, but he's gotten closer than even I thought he would.
Well, he's playing well.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
Yeah. I think people, for whatever reason, because he left. I know why, but Milton's a really fucking good player. But guys leave and they leave. That's the way of the NFL. But Morrow's done a tremendous job. Zach Bond is the understated funniest player on the Eagles, because Zach Bond is like, I describe him. He's like, and you've seen it when the Eagles put out some of their clips and edit, and he's giving Jihad the business. He's sort of like a fun bully, is what I describe him as, but in a good way, not in a bad way. He's just, very self-deprecating. He's just funny. He's a funny dude. And he'll pop off a one-liner. So everybody was making a big deal, and rightfully so. I mean, if you watch the game, Moore was calling out the 4th and 1 play. He said inside zone, he's screaming it to everybody, knew exactly what was coming. And Morrow's a smart dude, man. He went to college at 16 years old. He is a smart dude. He's from Nigeria. He started kindergarten at 3. He was on that same educational path and again, he was in college at 16. Really, really smart. So, it's a big deal. You don't see too many defensive linemen calling out plays like they're Luke Kuechly, who Luke would do it all the time as a middle linebacker. It was amazing. So we all made a big deal out of that because it looked like a big deal. And Zach said, everybody in that damn building knew what the play was. He just completely cut it off at the knees. I'm like, come on, dude. It's a good story.
Yeah, give him a little love, Bond. Come on.
Completely cut it off at the knees. He said we all knew it was coming, but it was a great moment anyway. I just thought it was funny. It pretty much summarizes Zach Bond. He was a very good dude, by the way.